Welcome to Modern Stoic Path, a channel dedicated to exploring the ancient wisdom of Stoicism and learning how to apply it in today's modern world. Here, we reflect on timeless ideas that help us live with more clarity, calm, and strength. If you're looking for a way to stay centered in the chaos of life, you've found the right place. Have you ever felt overwhelmed by life? By the endless noise, pressure, and uncertainty that seem to surround us every day? Imagine being responsible for millions of people, ruling an empire, and still finding peace in the middle of it all. Or imagine being born into slavery, with no freedom at all, yet discovering complete freedom within your own mind. These are not just stories from history. They are living examples of how human beings can rise above their circumstances through the power of philosophy. This is the essence of Stoicism, a philosophy that teaches us how to stay calm, focused, and free, even when life feels out of control. In this episode, we'll explore the lives and lessons of the Big Three Stoics, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus. Together, their teachings form a guide on how to live wisely, calmly, and courageously in any era, including our own. Let's begin with Marcus Aurelius, the philosopher king. Marcus Aurelius was the emperor of Rome, the most powerful man in the world, yet he was also one of its humblest thinkers. He didn't write his book, Meditations, to impress others. He wrote it as a journal, private notes to himself about how to stay good, grounded, and rational in a chaotic world. His words remind us that the mind is our most powerful tool, and that true strength comes from mastering it. Marcus wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." Even as emperor, he faced betrayal, disease, and endless responsibility, yet he found peace by focusing only on what he could control. That's something we can all practice. Instead of fighting what's outside our control, other people's actions, the weather or outcomes, we can direct our energy inward, toward our thoughts, our choices, and our responses. Marcus also reflected deeply on mortality. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." This wasn't a morbid thought to him. It was a wake-up call. Remembering that life is temporary helps us stop wasting time on trivial things and focus on what truly matters: love, purpose, and virtue. Imagine if we lived each day as if it were borrowed time. How much more intentional, compassionate, and alive would we be? Marcus also reminded himself to act with integrity no matter how others behaved. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one. Even surrounded by politics and corruption, he practiced kindness and fairness. That's a challenge we still face today. In workplaces and online spaces where negativity and ego often dominate, the Stoic lesson is simple. We can't control how others act, but we can always choose to act with reason and virtue. Marcus Aurelius teaches us calm in chaos. He shows that true leadership begins with self-mastery. Next, we turn to Seneca, the wealthy Stoic, the statesman, playwright, and philosopher who understood both the power and the trap of success. Seneca lived in luxury, but he never forgot how fragile fortune could be. His letters to his friend Lucilius are filled with timeless advice on how to live well. Seneca wrote, "It is not that we have a short time to live, but that we waste much of it." He believed that time is our most valuable resource, far more precious than money or possessions. Every wasted moment is one we can never get back. In today's world, where distractions surround us, social media, endless notifications, constant comparison, Seneca's warning feels more urgent than ever. We must learn to guard our time as if it were treasure, because it is. Another of Seneca's lessons is about wealth and simplicity. Though he was rich, he often practiced voluntary discomfort, sleeping on the floor, eating simple food, wearing rough clothing, to remind himself that happiness doesn't depend on luxury. He wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, so that you may not fear what you will someday have to face." The idea is powerful. When you learn to live simply, you become fearless. You no longer depend on comfort to feel content. Seneca also understood the power of the mind to create unnecessary suffering. He said, We suffer more in imagination than in reality. How often do we worry about things that never happen? How often do we replay old mistakes or imagine disasters that never come true? Seneca teaches that most of our pain comes not from events themselves, but from our interpretation of them. By questioning our thoughts and seeing reality more clearly, we can ease much of our anxiety. Seneca's wisdom is especially relevant today, in a world that constantly tells us to do more, have more, and be more. His reminder is simple. Focus on what truly matters, use your time wisely, and keep your desires in check. Now we come to the third of the great Stoics, Epictetus, the former slave who became a master of the human mind. Epictetus was born into slavery in the Roman Empire, but even in bondage, he discovered a truth that would make him free. He realized that while others could control his body, they could never control his mind. That insight became the foundation of his teaching. Epictetus said, "Some things are up to us, and some are not." This distinction is the heart of Stoicism. He believed that freedom doesn't come from changing the world around us, but from mastering our reactions to it. We can't control events, but we can always control our judgments and choices. That's where true peace lies. In the modern world, this principle is more vital than ever. We can't control traffic, social media, or other people's opinions, but we can control our attitude. Every time we choose calm over anger, understanding over blame, or action over complaint, we're walking the Stoic path that Epictetus taught. Epictetus also warned against seeking approval from others. He said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." That's a hard lesson in a time when so many of us crave likes, validation, and popularity. But the Stoic doesn't live for the applause of others. The Stoic lives for excellence, for doing the right thing because it's right, not because it's noticed. Finally, Epictetus taught that adversity is not an obstacle but an opportunity. Difficulties show what men are, he said. To him, every hardship was a test of character, a chance to practice patience, courage, and wisdom. Losing your job, facing illness, going through heartbreak. None of these are punishments. They're the training grounds of the soul. The Stoic approach to suffering is not to avoid it, but to transform it into growth. Epictetus lived with almost nothing, yet his mind was richer than any emperor's. His life is proof that happiness has nothing to do with possessions or status. It comes from within, from the calm strength of a disciplined mind. Together, Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus form a powerful trinity of wisdom. Marcus shows us calm in chaos. Seneca teaches us the value of time and simplicity. Epictetus shows us the freedom of the inner life. They lived in different worlds, an emperor, a statesman, and a slave. But they all reached the same conclusion. Peace is found not in the world outside, but in the mind within. Stoicism isn't about being emotionless. It's about being in control of our emotions. It's not about ignoring problems, but about facing them with clarity and courage. It's a way of living that replaces reaction with reason, fear with understanding, and anger with calm. In our modern world, filled with noise, distraction, and uncertainty, Stoicism is more relevant than ever. Every day gives us countless chances to practice it. When someone cuts you off in traffic, remember Marcus, and focus only on your response. When you're overwhelmed by deadlines or social pressure, remember Seneca and value your time. When you face loss or failure, remember Epictetus and ask, how can I use this to grow? You don't need to withdraw from the world to live stoically. You just need to pause, reflect, and respond with wisdom instead of impulse. The Stoic life is not about perfection. It's about practice, a daily effort to live with awareness, virtue, and peace. Marcus Aurelius ruled the world, Seneca advised emperors, and Epictetus owned nothing. Yet they all found the same truth. Peace doesn't come from control, it comes from character. You can't control what happens around you, but you can always control what happens within you. The next time life feels chaotic, remember their example. Remember that calm is a choice, virtue is a habit, and freedom begins in the mind. Thank you for listening to Modern Stoic Path. If you enjoyed this episode, Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss new content about Stoicism and how to live it in the modern world. Until next time, stay present, stay calm, and continue walking the modern Stoic path.